on this video, we're going to take a look at circumference and area of a circle. So let's go ahead and look at the circumference, and then on the next question, I think we're going to look at the area. So the circumference C of a circle is given by the following formula. C equals 2 times pi times r. Or we learned in the previous video that I was making for an introduction to a circle that the diameter is really equal to 2 radii, because if I think about a diameter, it goes all the way across a circle, right? So if a radii goes halfway across a circle and a diameter goes all the way across a circle, then a diameter is worth 2 radii. It's the same as 2 radii. So I could also say, instead of 2 times pi times r, I could replace 2r with diameter. Depends on what the problem gives you. Sometimes they'll give you radius, sometimes they'll give you diameter. So just remember that's because diameter is equal to 2 radius, or radii. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the problem they gave us here. So a circle has a radius of 12 feet. What is its circumference? Use 3.14 for pi, and do not round your answer. Be sure to include the correct unit in your answer. So they're already rounding a little bit for us with the pi, not a little bit, quite a lot, because 3.14 is rounded. If you click pi on your calculator, you'll notice it goes on for, quite a few more digits on your calculator, but it actually never ends, and it never repeats anything as far as the pattern goes. It just keeps on going on and on and on forever, okay? So they've already done the rounding for you. That's why they're telling you not to round anymore, so don't do any rounding. And then choosing your correct unit, since this is circumference is actually the length, or what we would say like perimeter if we were thinking of like a rectangle or square or triangle. Perimeter is around the outside. Well, that's the same thing for circumference. It's just a round line instead of having our corners where we can just add up the sides. Now we have to have a formula so we can figure out how long this line around the outside is. Excuse me. So now we have our radius. We know what pi is, so we're going to go ahead and use our formula here. So 2 times pi, they told me to use 3.14, and then r is 12. So now I'm just going to start multiplying them all together. So 12 and 2 are usually the easier ones, so I can go 12 times 2 is 24, and then go times 3.14, and I'd probably use a calculator for that one. So I get 75.36 feet. I'm not going to round anymore. That's exactly what I had on my calculator. And it's only feet because it's a length. It's just around the outside. So if it's just the length, then it's one-dimensional. So just feet, centimeters, meters, something like that, whatever unit they start with. When we go to area, that's when we have a two-dimensional area, or two-dimensional region. Okay, so that's when we have that squared on our unit. Okay. And then I think they also give you cube as an option on Alex. Cube has to do with volume because that's three-dimensional. Because now I'm looking at the three-dimensional space it can take up, not just the two-dimensional flat space it takes up. Okay. All right, so finding the radius or diameter of a circle given its circumference. So the circumference of a circular garden is 93.2 feet. What is the diameter of the garden? Use 3.14 for pi and do not round your answer. So again, very similar instructions here. They're telling us to use 3.14 and not to round because they've already rounded with the 3.14. So now in this case, we're not doing area on this one. We're going to do circumference, but we're going to kind of go backwards. We're given the circumference, and we need to go backwards to find our diameter. So remember, circumference equals diameter times pi. It's the same thing as 2 times pi times r. It's just that the 2r is kind of wrapped up right there into the diameter, right? It's the same thing. 2r is the same as d for diameter. So now we're going to plug in the pieces we have. 94.2 for our circumference, 3.14 for pi. So all I have to do now is, I don't want this 3.14 over here being multiplied. I'm going to divide by 3.14 on both sides so I know what's left over for diameter. So when I divide, make sure you type this in your calculator first, 94.2, and then divide by 3.14, and you should get 30 feet. On this one, it doesn't say be sure to choose your correct unit, so probably on Alex, the feet is already there. If it's not, you just need to make sure that you select only feet, because just like circumference, diameter is just another length. It's just a line, okay? All right, so that was finding circumference. I believe area may be on a separate video here. So I will see you on the next video.